Hi, this is Jordan from the quality team, and we're looking at how to read a specification in order to help you plan and deliver and assess learners. So what we're doing is we're going to have a look at the BTEC website. Now, there's different awarding bodies I appreciate. You might be not working under BTEC. You might be using NCFE. You might be using City and Guilds. You might be using OCM, for example. But this is just kind of your generic overview of how to work it. If you do need anything that is specific to a particular awarding body, please get in contact with the quality improvement team, and they'll provide some more support and guidance in and around this. Again, we will be looking just at a level 3 BTEC national qualification. Again, you might be teaching on different qualifications. For example, you might be teaching on T level, you might be teaching the level 3 T level, you might be teaching on the T-level foundation, which holds a little bit of a different aspect as well. You might be delivering on a standard, for example, with your apprenticeships. But generally, this is just to provide a bit of an over insight in regards to what you should really be looking for when you're looking at a spec, to just give you a bit more support and guidance on what you need to do moving forward. So we're on the BTEC website. Just to let you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a qualification. I'm going to go to the BTEC Nationals. I'm going to click on S because I'm looking for sport. And there we go. We'll go to this page here. So as you can see, that's page gives you a bit of an overview as to what it is, what qualification it is, and what level I need to be looking at it as well. So if you have a look at this part here, okay, so there's different sizes of qualifications. Certificate's the lowest, the extended diploma is the highest, and it's normally down to the amount of guided learning hours that's needed to complete it and how many points you'll receive of completing the qualification. Now, generally, as an organisation, we're normally doing a foundation diploma, which is 540 guided learning hours, or we're doing the extended diploma, which is 1,080. And basically what that'll work is your 540 might be the year one, and then your 1080 might be the year two. So again, have those conversations with your teams to find out what qualifications you're going to be running, how many guided learning hours it is, and how many guided learning hours that you've actually got to deliver your particular units as well. So if we just have a look at the right hand side as well, so just to make you aware that if you do get any BTEC qualifications, you have got useful resources, and this is not only just for the level 3 provision, but it's also for the level 4 and 5 as well. So the HN qualifications, it's called HN Global as well. You've got things like specifications and sample assessments. So if you've got any internal assessments that you want to have a look at, for example, you can get authorized assignment briefs. So if you're not wanting to create your own, you can have a look at a particular unit and see if there is an assignment brief for a unit that you need to deliver. Again, they're all approved by the awarding organisation, so you won't have to do any internal quality assurance around those assignment briefs. What you would need to do is just check and make sure that they are up to date and the more relevant one. So that's a check that you'd need to do. And then other aspects as well that BTEC can offer you is additional advice and guidance in regards to assessment guidance. So how to prepare learners for external assessments, delivery plans, scheme of work, mapping documents to other units, so you can RPL, those kind of aspects as well. So there's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of support that awarding bodies will provide as well. And again, for example, if you're using City and Guilds, for example, they'll have their own portal that you'll need to get access. And again, with awarding body aspects as well, you need to make an account. You can ask the exams team if you're needing one to get on any particular portals or any particular sites, or if you're needing some other from a quality assurance aspect, if you contact the quality improvement team, we'll hopefully point you in the right direction as to what aspects that you'll need. So just going back to the qualification, so just go to the spec. I've already downloaded one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the one that I've actually downloaded. A second. So this is literally when you are teaching, this is the spec, for example, for sport. Now, this is your Bible. This is what you need to be following and checking constantly. You need to probably have a look at the website probably 4 times a year to make sure there's not been any updates in regards to the units or qualifications, because they do have different versions. So this was out in 2016 and they're on issue 9. So there's been lots of updates in regards to this specification. So if you are using an old spec, which might be issue 7, you need to make sure that you are checking the websites or checking the awarding bodies websites to ensure that you have got the most up-to-date specification. Within these specifications as well, what it does, it provides you detailed qualification purpose, the structure, tells you the units and assessments requirements. It'll also look at things like why they're doing it, what's the rationale, and it'll also tell you the different guided learning hours and the structure. For example, if there's any external assessment, any internal assessments, what you need to be doing in regards to checking the learner's work, mapping. So everything that you need will be in this specification. So as you can see there, just on the planning docs. Okay. And then any other additionals, what they link to, how many guided learning hours, the structure of how it looks. So for example, I might be looking at the extended diploma here, tells me there how many guided learning hours it is. It's equivalent to 3 A levels. There's 4 units, there's 14 units, of which 10 are mandatory and 4 are external. All right, so it gives you the balance as well. And then that's just to show you the optional mandatory units depending on the size of the qualification. All right, so just provides you that overview there. And again, there's a lot more detail in regards to internal assessments, external assessments, how many UCAS points it creates as well. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to find a particular unit. See that? So we're looking at Unit 29, which is exercise for specific groups. Now, layouts of these can be slightly different, but they do generally give you, they are a kind of generic overview as to what it is. So the unit brief, what it is, it tells you there, tells you how it's going to be assessed at the top, and it's going to tell you how many guided hours are needed in regards to deliver that unit. And it gives you a brief introduction into the unit. I'm not going to read them out for you, but it does give you a better insight into it. Then it gives you the learning aims. So these are the things that you will be delivering as part of your teaching. So you'll be looking at exploring the provision and benefits of exercise for specific groups. You'll develop an exercise program, prescriptions and plans for a specific group, and undertake a review of how it went. So that's kind of the learning outcomes. So that's the summary of aims, or some summary of the unit. So ideally, what you'll be delivering, whether this is over an 8 or a 10 or a 12-week period, this is the types of material that you're going to be delivering. Now, again, it gives you the content in further detail, which then should support your planning as to how much content that you're going to deliver, how much time that you're going to deliver that in, and what key aspects might you be looking at over those different periods of weeks, depending on how many weeks that the department's giving you to complete that. So as you can see there. And again, I'm not going to go into too much details in around that, but one of the things that you need to take into consideration as well is, like I said before, is the amount of time that you're going to take, but what formative assessment are you going to do in order to ensure that learners know this information throughout before they're actually given their assignment to complete. So basically knowing if they're ready to complete it. Again, that's the assessment criteria. So what will happen is within the assessment criteria, you can see the different levels. This might be broken down into one assignment. Ideally, you want to take on board the advice that BTEC will give you in regards to how many assignments it might need. One of the things that you can't do though, and again, this will be for all awarding bodies, is that you can't have, for example, P1 sitting in 2 different assignments. It'll need to sit in one assignment because then you can make the judgment. You can't do a little bit in one assignment and then do a little bit in another. It needs to all be in one place. So kind of way I see this has been split is literally learning outcome A would be an assignment, learning outcome B would be an assignment, and learning outcome C would be an assignment, because it's quite nice and neat. It's all straight across. And as you can see, you've got pass criterias, merits and distinctions. So your P's are your passes, your M's are your merits, and your D's are your distinctions. And then it tells you exactly what they need to do. So for P1, for example, explain the provision of exercise for 3 different specific groups in the local area. So pretty straightforward. Okay. And again, like I said before, is you might want to have a look at looking at the awarding body and see if they've got any authorized assignments that you might want to use. As you can see here, essential information for assignments. So it tells you there the maximum assignments that can be used is 3, and the relationships, the learning aims are as follows. So as I've just said there at the top, the way that I'd seen it is very similar to what BTEC was telling you. Learning outcome A is an assignment, learning outcome B is an assignment, learning outcome C is an assignment. Again, this is vital for when you're actually marking the work. It tells you exactly what the standard is, and it tells you what you need to do. So whenever you're marking the work, my advice would be is make sure that learners must cover the P's in order to then be able to get the merit. You can't say, all right, okay, you've not met P1 or P2, but you've got M1, so I'm going to give you a merit. You can't do that. They must cover all the criteria. So they must get P1, P2, and M1 in order to get a merit grade. Again, that provides more detail for you. And as you can see, for example, learners will explain the provision of exercise for different groups in the local area and the benefits of exercise for these 3 groups. So it's utilizing the key grade descriptors, which we'll talk about in another video, but it's that can have learners explain the provision of exercise for different specific groups. So that's what you'll be looking at, and that's the judgment you'll be making. So it does exactly the same for learning outcome B and exactly the same for learning outcome C. I might have gone a little bit too far. So we're still on the right document. Thought I just moved it a bit too quick. So that's the essential information. Also tells you as well what other units you can link it to. Also talks about which might be better for you for RPL in learner work. And when I say RPL, is record of prior learning. So if there's something that they are doing that is quite similar, you can RPL it and just make sure that it matches the criteria and requirements. So that is kind of your specs. And again, just like I said, just from a bit of an overview, making sure that you do read in the criteria, the requirements for the grades, that learners can have access to this as well. You can share this with learners so they get a better insight. But it's up to us as how we find creative ways to deliver this information to make sure it sticks in learners' memories into long-term memory stores, and they're able to recall it as and where needed. But as you can see there, it provides the clear overview as to what's needed and what's required. And another thing that we look at, even though we are looking at a specification standpoint, we still need to be delivering wider than the qualification as well within that unit. And the rationale for that is that, as you can see, even though it's had 9 different issues and versions of it, it's 2016 that this was written. There might be bits that we're missing or might be missed within the spec that we're not developing that's needed within industry as well. So we've got to think about those aspects. Hopefully you found that useful. Again, your next steps, what I'd suggest is that you speak to your curriculum team leader, get an overview of what specs that you are currently delivering, if you have access to them, work out what units that you're going to be delivering as well, have a bit of a read through them, and then again sit with your CTL to discuss, is this the best way of meeting this criteria and this requirement?